Hi everybody, all my followers, be welcome to another video. Right, the video today is on a 2012 Kia Venga. It's the Venga 2 with I believe this is the 1.4 CRDI diesel. And right, the complaint is that the car drives fine, however, quite randomly, according to the owner. I haven't drove the car, so I don't know if there is a pattern to it or not, but apparently randomly the engine light comes on and goes off on its own without any user interaction by the looks of it. But yeah, so the engine light comes on and goes off on its own, and that's the complaint. Other than that, apparently the car drives fine. Again, I haven't drove the car, so I don't know. But yeah, so with no further ado, let's kind of plug in the Maxi Sys, give it a scan and see what that tells us. Okay, let it finish the auto scan. So far we have two codes. Let's see what happens. Let's see what comes up with. Okay, and scan is finished. 2 units with codes. I think, yeah, the airbag light is going off. So definitely, and it's coming on because I've seen it. So there's nothing wrong with the ABS, the airbag. So let's see, just curiosity, what we have, and clear these codes while the car is here. Dear me. See if we have anything on event 2. Nope. So that's it, and we left now with the engine fault. So let's see what does that bring us. Cha-da-da-da. And that brings us a P1101 mass or volume airflow A circuit range performance. Guys, this can be caused by many different things, so yeah, not really sure, especially if it's coming on and off. Still, let's gonna start the engine, look at some live data, and see if we see anything odd or if everything looks kind of okay. And yeah, let's go from there. Okay. Went through a little bit of live data, and I've done a test that I think I never showed you this on a video, but nevertheless I'm going to show you, and who knows, you guys might learn something, I don't know. Anyway, so the first thing I've done is I've loaded a fair amount of live data there. So air mass meter, the exhaust gas recirculation, atmospheric pressure, air mass unit time, air mass flow per cylinder, exhaust gas recirculation position, exhaust gas recirculation demand, and the feedback. Okay, so as you can see, all the live data there. Now what I'm gonna show you quickly is the top one, the air mass meter. Obviously this will apply for the air mass per unit time, but the reading is going to be, this reading is calculated from that one, so it's not really point to be showing on both. I've done something that I'm going to show you based on the first one, and basically, guys, to test an airflow meter, there's several things you can do, but the one I decided to approach here today is, I haven't opened the bonnet yet, but what I've done is I've done a graphic to show me if my airflow meter is responding accordingly and evenly through the rev range. And the way I've done it is through a graphic. I've done it only until about 3000 RPMs, but it was absolutely perfect up to there. Another 1500 and you are on the red line, so there is really no point to carry on. So as you can see, my air mass meter at idling is 8 grams per second. Okay, so what I've done, and this is my baseline, is where I started. So what you do, guys, is you have 8 grams per second at idling, which is about, I don't know, 800 RPMs, I think is what the tool is reading, about 800. And then I've done measurements at 1,000, 1,500, 2,000, 2,500, 3,000, and I think that's it. I think I went to 3,000. And what you should see, guys, is basically a straight line, which is exactly what I've got, as you can see there. So that was my 8 grams per second at just a little bit before 1K. And then I put a point. Obviously I've done it like this because I think that's where they should land, and they actually landed perfectly. So I've done double on each one, and he actually landed perfect like this. And what I'm going to show you is, I'm going to show you now so you can actually compare the graphic. I don't have, actually, let me load the RPMs because I think it's going to be nice to see it. I do it like this, there we go. So you have my, sorry guys, you have my engine speed and you have my grams per second. Now I'm going to accelerate to about 1,500 RPMs. It's very difficult. Am I there? Nearly there. As you can see, 16, so it's about right. Okay, as per my graphic showed me, I should get 16, which I'm getting. So now I'm going to go all the way to 2,000. And here is where it gets a little bit tricky. Look, it's still reading 16. As soon as I try to pass a little bit 2,000, .24, there we go. So there we go, 24. Now we're going to go 2.5 and we should read 32. So there we go, 31, very, very close. I'm gonna go to 3,000 and we should read 40. I'm reading 39. So as you can see, the main thing here, guys, is that we get on the graphic, we get a straight correlation with a straight line between my airflow meter and my RPMs, and we get a straight line which is spot on. Curved line either way means something is wrong, okay? And depends on your curve. It could mean a bad sensor, or it could mean a blockage somewhere, or an air leak somewhere, whatever. Anyway, that looks okay, so I'm not worried with the airflow meter at this point. What I'm worried about though is my EGR. So my EGR, the feedback of my EGR is on 53.3, okay, and it tells me that my position is at 0.6, which to me means it's closed. But what I don't understand is, if it's closed, why my feedback is 53.3. So this should be the same, and when I accelerate, my demand changes, but nothing on my EGR actually moves. So do we have a blocked EGR? Should these numbers be changing? First, let's gonna make sure we do have an EGR. This could be that we don't even have one. I don't think so, but let's gonna open the bonnet, do a little bit of inspection, and go from there. Okay, indeed, we do have an EGR. Looks visually okay from the outside. With the engine running as it is now, I unplugged the EGR, and the only difference I get is my position goes to -3.7 I plug it back in and it comes back to 0.6. That's the only thing I've seen. So I think I'm going to see under active tests if I have anything for the EGR, and we're going to do some tests in there. Okay, and unfortunately under live data, and this is sometimes, I'm not sure if this is a Maxis or if this is a ECU capability. Some cars you can actually load actuator tests, or when you do active tests you can actually load live data. This would be a very, very helpful thing in this case, because I could then activate the EGR and look at the live data feedback to see if those values were changing. Unfortunately I can't do that, so when I go to my recirculation valve, all I can do is do a on-off trigger, which what it does is I believe on a 1 second on and off, it just pulses the EGR. Now I was expecting to hear a little bit more noise coming from the EGR. I'm going to try to show you on engine bay, and you're going to listen to what it is doing, but I was expecting a little bit more of a clicking. Not 100% sure yet. I think I'm going to pull the EGR out just for the sake of it, but let me show you exactly what it does. Okay, I don't know how good it's going to come out on camera, but let me put the phone right here like this with the microphone facing the EGR. I'm going to activate it. Okay, and it stopped. I'm going to try to increase the volume during the clicking, but to be fair with you guys, you can barely hear it. I was definitely expecting a bigger click, I would say. Yeah, so yeah, because I can't look at the live data, I can't see exactly what the EGR is doing. I know it is working, so electrically it's being activated, but yeah, that's about it really. So let's gonna actually start to take things into bits, take the EGR out and probably have a look at it, because at the moment that's the only thing that really stands out in this case. I'm not concerned with the airflow meter at the moment. Don't think that's my problem, but you never know. But let's gonna start with the EGR and go from there. Okay, I'm not 100% sure on these EGRs. Usually where these flanges on these electromechanical valves, usually this is supposed to be clean of carbon. This one is absolutely full of it. Plus, let me show you, I had to put the battery just like that so I could connect everything back on. And obviously in there, as you're going to be able, oh damn it, somehow to see, look at that, is absolutely covered in carbon. Now let me show you, the actually EGR moves up and down okay. Okay, I'm just not sure if this crap should be up here. Okay, so that's kind of moves when, oh dear me, when you actually move these here. So this goes in, so when it's in the rest position, the actually valve there pushes this pin up, and that should be really my, come on focus, the solid turbo. So I don't know, can you see in there, minus 26, 29, 3.7, and then when I leave it, it goes to 88. So we have a reading in there. I'm just not sure. It goes to minus 30. Not really sure what should be reading there. But what I want to do now is I want to activate this to see if this is actually strong enough to pull these out. Okay. Okay, let me hold these with my finger and press start. Okay, it does push, it definitely pushes, but will this be enough to open? Oh, maybe, 100% sure, maybe that is actually enough to open and close the EGR. Let me try again. Not sure. That said, I think if the EGR was not reaching the correct positions, I would have faults for the EGR. So, right, I think I'm going to remove the EGR and give it a clean, just in case if it's completely blocked. And even though it's open and closing here, might not be allowing the airflow to go through. And yeah, it's a little bit of a tricky one here right now. Okay, let me do a little bit more inspection and go from there. Okay, I had everything to bits, and definitely I shouldn't have any carbon here. Definitely is leaking. The actually valve itself is leaking into this side here, which is not very good. So am I gonna tell the guy to actually replace the EGR? Will be up to him. But just to check the EGR is actually actuating. Okay, let me start that. Let me start this. Let me show you. So if you look in there, let's see if the camera actually focus. So it's gonna focus more or less. Let me start. So it is actually actuating the EGR, but definitely it shouldn't be leaking to here. So I'll tell the guy he might need a new EGR, because the way it is, it might not gonna last. If he doesn't want to replace it, we might lubricate. We're gonna clean it obviously, and lubricate this area here maybe a little bit, and go from there really, and leave it like that for now. But another thing that I've checked, which is not looking good, is you can't really see it, so sorry. No, the camera, no chance it's gonna focus. No, it's never gonna focus that. And my torch is a little bit bad as well. But yeah, I think I'm gonna take this manifold and give it a clean, just in case if the ports are restricted and has somehow affecting the airflow with certain RPMs and the load and all that stuff. So yeah, I'll do that. Okay, I wish all the intakes were this easy to remove. Extremely easy. Just a few bolts and two nuts. The intakes themselves, they don't look too bad. The car is only 60,000 miles, or 56,000 miles I think. It doesn't look too bad. Maybe just this first one here a little bit more, but we'll give it a clean anyway. The actually intake itself is actually not too bad. It's gonna be able to see, or maybe not see. You're gonna be able to. Okay, so as you can see, it's not too bad. Here, however, the EGR intake is a little bit clogged up. And then here, dear me, I'm gonna show you this. There we go. There's a mountain of carbon in there, and it is a little bit clogged. But let me see. It's gonna be even worse this way. Oh dear me, I'm gonna show you this. Okay, so it is a little bit. Okay, we're gonna give you a clean, guys. Now, is these restrictions the problem? I don't know, probably not. But we'll give it a clean, and at least that way we will rule out this as being a problem. So I'm gonna clean the intake. I'm gonna clean the EGR cooler. Gonna clean the throttle body and clean the EGR itself. The EGR, I'm gonna recommend to actually replace the EGR. Will be up to him completely, but we'll see how it goes. Right guys, gave a quick clean to the inlet ports. They look way better. Cleaned the throttle body, cleaned the cooler, you can probably see, cleaned the intake. Okay, it's all done. The only thing I'm gonna need is the gasket for the throttle body to the intake manifold, because it literally split in two. The other bit is all broken up, and because I'm gonna have to get this, I might get the gasket for the manifold and the engine block as well. Is the only two gaskets really. The other gaskets are all metal gaskets, so don't really see the point and replace them. Just a good cleaning, that's it. But that's not going to be for today. It's about 7 o'clock or so, so I'm going to have to order this gasket from Kia, and that's about it for today. Put it all back together, test it, and see if we have any changes. Okay, and we are back onto this Kia. Right, the gaskets for this, I got them myself directly from Kia, and let me tell you, they are not cheap. Wow, I was a little bit surprised with the price, but for these two gaskets, so I ended up getting the one for the intake as well. Look at that, £36.76. These are some expensive gaskets for a little car like this. Anyway, so the gaskets, I got them from Kia, and obviously I spoke with the owner. He didn't want the EGR to be from Kia. I said, as you guys know, I said, okay, you get me the EGR. Obviously, you wouldn't get anything else other than a Chinese one. So I'm gonna open it, and we'll talk a little bit just before I start to put everything into the car. Okay, good. That comes with new gaskets. That's always good. Now, the issue I have with China parts is that, as you have seen on some of my videos in the past, is that sometimes even brand new, they don't work properly. Especially parts that contain sensors, like in this case, this part here at the back, the electric part, is the actuator that opens and closes the EGR, and is the sensor that obviously measures the position. I had in the past where I had to actually reuse or use the new actually valve itself and install the old and original sensor and actuator, which who knows if it's not what I'm gonna do in this case. Just in case, I don't know. We might gonna try and see what happens, but a lot of the times these sensors, they don't feed back properly, and it's what happens with China stuff. But that's what the guy brought me. If it doesn't work, you might have to pay twice. Sometimes that's the thing. You buy cheap, you buy twice. But that's a different subject. So with no further ado, guys, I'm going to try to see if I have time today. The weather has been a little bit, but we'll try to put everything back together today, and see if that helps the airflow on this engine, and if that helps to fix the problem with the car. So with no further ado, let's put everything back on. I'm not going to take you through that. It's just put parts back in. It's not rocket science. So I'll see you in a bit. Okay, just thought about stop here quickly. The weather is not really helping today, so I'm not sure how far I'm going to be able to get onto this, but just stop here to let you know a few couple things. So the torque, the main torques, which is the ones I'm going to give you, these torques here, this to the head is 21 Newton meters, and then the EGR is 25. Everything else, little things like this, is just do it by hand. You don't need to be that petty about it, but this obviously is quite important. So 21 Newton meters, just to let you know. So now I'm going to crack on with this, see how far I can get, because the weather is definitely not helping. Okay, and everything is back in place, everything connected, etc, etc. I'm not sure if there is an EGR learning procedure for this, so we're going to plug in the maxi-sys before we attempt it to start, see if there's anything in there, see how it's done, if there is one. Also, I'm expecting it to take a little bit to start, or not to start straight away, because we have this high pressure line that comes from the pump to the rail disconnected, so obviously that's empty now. So it might not gonna start straight away, but yeah, let's gonna start it up and see, then look at some live data, see if there's any learning procedures, as I said, and see how the car behaves now. Okay, and after spending some time updating the maxi-sys with loads of updates, I'm now in the menu on the special functions, and there is indeed a Egr valve replacement, which we are going to perform. So 10 seconds, ignition off. Ignition back on. Press OK. That's it, job done. So now let's gonna start this thing. Okay, and the thing is started. That light is purely because I had the battery disconnected and it's just for the steering angle. We'll check that later. So that's fine. There is no really much difference here so far. That's pretty much the same. Where's my EGR thingy? So the position is now slightly different. It was stuck at 6 or something like that, wasn't it? And he actually moves. Can you see the difference? Before, my EGR wouldn't move, if you guys remember, when I would accelerate. So that's different now. Let me select actually that one. And there's one for the feedback. There we go. So there he is. Not sure why the feedback is stuck at 49, but the position is definitely moving. I'm going to try to put somewhere here how I was before. And when I accelerate, right, and I think I finished this right on time. Hey, to be honest, they were forecasting rain for today, Tuesday, and the rest of the week. So I think I got away a little bit in the morning, and now that's gonna be it. Anyway, guys, that's nothing to do with the car. So I went for a drive. I drove the car for a good 10-20 minutes. Mixed driving, accelerating, floor it, cruising, etc. The car is driving fine. I've been looking some live data, and this is the live data I've loaded. I think I had these live data loaded back in the past, so I'm going to try to somehow be able to show you both here somewhere. But what I wanted to look at is, obviously, as I've showed you just earlier, that the EGR now it moves. That last one, EGR gas recirculation, EGR feedback, is stuck at 49.8. So don't know if that's some other type of EGR that might have different feedbacks. I'm not 100% sure, guys. I just know that's stuck in there. It doesn't move, but all the other values, they actually move, including the position, which and the actuator at the top as well. And one interesting thing here, guys, is that I would like to show you is, obviously, at the moment the EGR is closed. Okay, so there is no flow. I mean, there is a small bypass on this EGR, which is always allowing some recirculation, if that makes sense. That's just the way the EGR is designed, but obviously then it has the valve that opens to increase the flow. But what I wanted to look at is that at the moment I have my airflow meter reading the 28.2 and the 8, and what I wanted to see is that when I rev the engine, obviously that increases, and we have the EGR actuating. And look what happens now when I take my foot off and my EGR is open, and because I have more recirculation going from the EGR to the engine, my actually reading from my airflow meter goes to 0. Obviously there is some flow coming through, but it's that small that the airflow meter is not measuring it. And you're gonna see that now when the EGR closes again, obviously it decreases, it reduces the amount of recirculation, which is going to force the engine to pull more clean air. There we go, and it goes up again. So I think this was the bit that was missing, and it was a bad EGR, I guess. At least that's what makes sense to me. When you look at turbo codes, as you can see, we have no turbo codes. I've restarted the engine throughout a few times, on and off. And again, as I said, guys, I drove the engine, I drove the car, different mixture driving, and the car is driving fine. He has boost, he has everything. So I will say at this moment, guys, that this was a bad EGR that was triggering a airflow code. As for the EGR, looks like this aftermarket Chinese one so far is working good. We'll see how long it lasts. I would honestly go genuine. I wouldn't mess about with this, but it might be that it lasts. Time will tell. So with no further ado, guys, hope you enjoyed the video. I do hope there's some information here you guys can find useful. If you do still have any questions, any comments, please put them below. And like always, thank you for watching.